Okay, so we are here today again. So I really just have to go straight to the point. I really do not like core music. Like core music. Core this, core that. Actually, core as a whole, I just cannot stand it at all. It makes my gears grind. No Peter Griffin, no Family Guy. It makes my blood boil. Because it's like history being rewritten in a sense, like, and then it's like funny because what is based off of is the past and the foundations of things, and then it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna take this and we're gonna turn it into this new thing. Like the creators didn't already think of that, or like this doesn't already have a name. um and really, for the most part, like, it really bothers me the most when it comes to like electronic music. I love electronic music so much, and like even most of my music, if not all of it, is inspired. No matter what, it's gonna be some aspect of electronic music in it. And yeah, like everything from breakcore, Y2K. Like, I'm not even gonna go down the list. You know, everything has a core at the end of it, and even on a personal note, like before I even go in, it's like we've made this genre, me, Tethra 64, years ago, and we've been building it, called Blast Music, and it's a combination of just like different things. I can't even say it's like, oh, like, even if I was to say it's like, oh, trapping, jungle, D&B, that's not it, because there's so many other aspects when it comes to mixing, layering, how we do chop. Like, it's so much that goes into it in thought process behind it that, like, yeah, I won't discredit it or disrespect it like that at all. But you know, Teth posts a lot on TikTok. I don't really like TikTok. I have some stuff on there, but I'm really not on there at all. And I believe it was from like a past rave or something that he was doing, or like it was a song, but he had his beat on it, and it was a blast beat. And then somebody in the comments was just ignorant, and it's like, it's breakcore. Now, mind you, like, this is what I'm saying. It's like people trying to rewrite stuff. Like, okay, if you were in like, this is just junk or D&B, that would be amazing. That would be so humbling. It's an honor to even like have that moniker like over us if we were that, but you're calling it breakcore. And this isn't the cause of this video. This isn't the cause of me talking. This is just me getting out my thoughts. I should have done this a long time ago. And like, if you meet me in person, I'd talk about this. But it just needs to be said because I don't know. It seems to be like nobody's talking about it, but it makes sense. And this happens with a lot of things where it's like, where there's underground music. It could be anything, clothes, whatever. It's this gap that happened, and the mantle wasn't passed over properly from one generation to another. So now my generation, it's a lot of stuff where we're just trying to rewrite and make our own thing. But it's like, a lot of us, because we're so young and don't know, like, I was blessed to have like older cousins and older friends, like even Teth is older than me, and just like people to guide me, show me new things as I was growing up and developing, even still now, like putting me on things that I've never seen or heard before, and it's humbling. But I know that a lot of people don't have that, unfortunately. And so we have this thing where it's like, we think we're paving the way and making all of this new stuff, but a lot of times nothing's really new under the sun. You know what I'm saying? Even I could argue blast music, there's a lot of, that's why I said, even if someone was to call it jungle or D&B, there's a lot of older jungle D&B songs that have not just a sub bass, but a literal 808 heavier kicks and stuff like that. Like, so it's like probably even the ideas that we've had, I don't think in the human consciousness that, like, there's no idea that I feel like is new. It just, every generation, it just comes up again. It's like, well, who's gonna grab it? If no one grabs the idea, then it sinks back down, but it'll always return. It's always there for eternity, and that's like a whole nother conversation, but just my thoughts on that. But we're in this place now where it's like, yeah, everything is so aesthetic and core, and like I said, it goes even outside of just music. But it's really bad. It's really bad, because I feel like it's disrespectful to the pioneers, the people that crawled and walked and ran for us to fly and go to the stars, the moon, and beyond. You know what I'm saying? And like it's like, and it already was happening because electronic music is just, it's very hard to explain. It's not actually, it's really not. Let me like, it's a banner and then underneath the banner, or even like a tree and then there's so many other branches. Like you have garage or garage, however you want to pronounce it, and then even in that it's UK and New York. You have people like Todd Edwards, basically. I mean, he's from Jersey and he was doing New York garage music, but that literally inspired UK garage music. There's all of the pirate radio stuff. There was a point in time where they couldn't even have music on the radio, that they were pirating stuff, going on top of towers with wires, fighting for this. And that's why, like, it just bothers me so much when it's like all this rewriting and like core this, core that. And it's like, you know, maybe someone will argue it's not serious, but it's like when people have like died behind it, been jailed, all different types of stuff. People struggled, even in the black community or like the homosexual community, like LGBTQ. Like this has been around. Like this has been around. This is things that we've like built over time and had to die for, literally. Like even when it comes to raves nowadays, like everything is a rave, everybody's raving, everybody's a raver, cool, and all it is you're just taking a name and putting it for a party. Like, and the music that's played there isn't even truly what would be played at raves were like illegal. They were illegal at airplane hangars, warehouses, underground clubs, almost like dungeon like things, and it was hidden and spread around through flyers and stuff like that. In all across America, in the UK, even places in Japan, and like it spread across the globe. But these hubs of this music for music lovers to truly come together, celebrate, dance, enjoy themselves, create together everything. And then it's sad when it's just like, it's almost like quantified into this like tinier thing that could just be marketed and sold. And like there's a lot of like artists, whether they chose to put core behind their name. The only core that has really been around, which I think probably inspired people to start using that, is really, of my knowledge, Nightcore. That has been a thing. And obviously it's like metalcore kind of. That's a genre in itself, but like, yeah, those are like the only two things. Now everything is just core, and it's just really bad. But I mean, it already started, like I said, like there were so many branches: garage, trance, techno, down tempo, house. The list goes on. Like even to the point like jungle, D&B, breakbeat, and even to the point where it was like at the time when like, and I'm gonna go into this more, but certain artists like Aphex Twin came out and stuff, they started calling it IDM, intelligent dance music. And even then, like a lot of times, like the pioneers, those dudes, even women, like this is what I'm saying, so much that's come from this. Even Bjork to a degree, like not even to a degree, a lot is heavily electronic. And a lot of these people, they didn't even like the names that were being labeled onto them. It's like they're just like, yo, we're just making music, we're trying to create and bring people together. And you know, society or just whatever, the industry would just slap labels on them and stuff like that. And I mean, there are some actual names, like I could go down the list and like those are actual, okay, we're running with this as a genre. But then there's other things where it's like, because you got to think of it, it's like some artists, they were coming out and they were making electronic music, but it became so obscure, whether it's the drum patterns, the instruments, the synths, everything, it just started getting really crazy, just super experimental. And because of that, it's like, oh, we gotta call it this new thing, intelligent dance music. And it's like, bro, we're making the same thing, like we're just pushing it forward, you know? But I mean, there's always been stuff, even, that's why even like, even everything with a amen break on it or something is not like, it's like, oh, break chords. Like, no, like even in that, it's like differences, like breakbeat being like 110 to 150 BPM, and then D&B and jungle being way faster, the 160s up to like 180 or 190. Maybe even some people probably even do like 200. I don't know. Like whatever they do, that's what they choose to do. And even in the differences between DMB and jungle, where jungle is more percussion heavy, it's very aggressive. A lot of times it'll be hard hitting, aggressive bass lines and leads and synths and things like that. And DMB is more chill, ambient sounds, very jazz heavy, melodic, melody heavy. Still has the breaks and stuff, amazing breaks, amazing bass lines in it, everything. But it's differences when it comes to stuff like that. Then there's like acid house, acid jazz. It's so like it goes far. It's so many different subgenres and stuff like that. But even in that, like I said, some artists would run with it. You know, they'd be like, okay, I'm with this. I'll take this label. But there was a lot that were just like, yo, I'm just creating music. You know what I'm saying? Where you might even turn on the album and like all of these subgenres, it would be like different songs from different subgenres, and it just shows you it's like, yo, like we do electronic music, cool, because it is electronic, it's a lot of computer work, and even with that, it was such a long time where people had to fight to be respected for that, because oh, you're not using instruments, you're just using the computers, this, that, and the third. Like this is why I say it's like nothing new under the sun. Like even now, you have things like FL Studio, Logic, Reason, whatever, cool, and you have older producers and artists that bash it, and it's like, oh, we had to go crate hunting, sample hunting, we had to use this machine, we had to do this. And although it is an art form and it should be respected, I think the new stuff should be respected as well. So it's funny how history repeats itself, but it's like, okay, can we learn from that and move forward? And I just feel like for that to happen, it has to be generations that connect together. Like no more fighting, no more ageism, no more younger generation versus older generation, no more mantles not being passed over. Let's learn from each other. Let's all grow. Everybody should be making music. The old guys should still be making new experimental stuff, pushing stuff through. The younger guys should be also listening and taking stuff in from the older ways, the things that are good, and pushing stuff forward so we can grow, develop, come to a higher consciousness and like music together. Like for me, I feel like core, it's almost like people don't even know about the greats. Like Bjork and Aphex Twin, they're like front runners, and some of the OGs when it comes to that, to electronic music. And and especially Bjork, because she goes into pop, and this is another thing too, like she goes into hip hop, and even Aphex Twin a little bit, but that's because these genres all at the time were bubbling, being created the 80s, 90s, 70s, you know what I'm saying, early 2000s, coming up together at the same time, evolving, taking from each other. That's why you'll have elements of them bleed into each other. And even now, we have this thing where it's like, it's like almost like rap music, hip hop, R&B is like heavily electronic based. But it was always like that. It's not like it's something new. It's like they're all cousins, and all of the artists, like even taking like rappers and stuff like that and putting them over different beats, like jungle beats and stuff. And like I said, on the pirate radio stations and mixes and DJs, it's like a lot of this blending and respect that's always been there. And these two artists, they're great. This is another thing I want to say. In my opinion, are they beasting? Yes. But they should be. I think sometimes it's for the wrong reason. It's just because they're some of the most popular. But it's also for like Selected, Ambient Works 1. It's God tier, arcane level masterpiece. Anybody, if you're a period, just music lover, electronic lover, like you really have to go listen to that project. Even to the point, this is what I'm saying. The songs on there are, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. It's so crazy. It's funny because I think of Prince, where he's like, oh, we're just gonna be sampling samples and stuff like that, and it's just like Xtal, however you want to pronounce it. That's how I pronounce it. The intro is literally a sample. Like a lot of people, I was watching a breakdown with my friend Sega. And I never knew this until recently, but it's a sample. But it makes sense because I know that he sampled other songs before. And in electronic music, literally Todd Edwards' garage music, like a lot of that is like sample heavy. Same thing with rap music. And people don't really understand that or think about that. They just hear synths or hear sounds and like, oh, whatever, real cool. But it's like, no, it's like it all comes from the same heart, like from the same root and the same techniques and stuff. And it's just different branches that come off from the same tree of music. Um, and I'll probably talk about this in a different video, but that's why, to me, I look at like rap music at the core, hip hop as the ultimate genre of music, because it's the perfect palette that can be used to blend any type. You could blend like 5-6 different genres by using that as the base form of it. Like, almost like Mega Man, I want to say. Like Mega Man is the base, and then him turning it like Zero or X. You know what I'm saying? And them turning into other forms by fusing with oh my goodness. I'm thinking Zoid. That is not the word. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. I'm having a brain fart with it right now. But it was just coming to my mind. Mavericks. Not really the Mavericks, but if you play Mega Man games, you know what I'm talking about. I'm having a brain fart because there's just so many like things right now that I'm just trying to express and get off. But it's like that. And so you have this where it's just like, when you even know the techniques behind it and you see it, it's just lit. It's like, it's so beautiful and distinct. It's crazy. And how much work and time goes into it is very particular. Like it's masterclass. It's really masterclass. And to me, that's my favorite, because not saying I don't like aggressive electronic music, but I tend to like electronic music that's more ambient, lusher, synth heavy. I love melodies across music, period. A lot of my favorite songs is like melody heavy, clearly. So I feel like, although he does have moments, like even on 2, Ambient Works 2, there are very, especially on that, even maybe more ambient and minimalistic, which I could go into maybe possibly. Actually, I know, and I'll go into it later, but the inspirations behind that, when I'm just diving deeper into electronic music and like the OGs that come from it. But yeah, a lot of his other music becomes like more aggressive in the sense of like just harsher synths and things like that, which isn't bad at all. It's actually amazing. And with Bjork, for me, Post, Telegram, those are probably 2 of my favorites. In the earlier stages, I feel like, yeah, not saying it's always electronic based a lot in her music, but like to me, those are my favorite projects. Probably the Telegram, not Tele, I said Tele. This is on Telegram. The I Miss You remix. I love that, and that's a perfect example too of the blend of like hip hop and more electronic and just different things like that, or pop. And it's just like these artists, they didn't care. They were just making music. I just wish we could like go back to that and create it. I think sometimes a genre can be good as a guide map to understand things. When we just like free our minds and just create, craft, mix stuff, don't mix stuff, make it pure, whatever, however you want to do it, not think so much, just make what you like. You know what I'm saying? It could just be good, but this is another reason why I don't like core, because it's just like labels and like trying to turn something into whatever, or an aesthetic, and this is what this is and that's what that is, and this is what I am. And it's like, no, just even as humans, like we're not these one-dimensional characters, like, oh, I'm me, or I'm this, or I'm a skater, I make trap, like whatever. It doesn't matter. Like we're all multifaceted. Like we're not just one thing. You know what I'm saying? Even in your body, it's like you have so many different emotions: anger, sadness, excitement, joy, happiness. And there is a difference between joy and happiness, but that's a whole nother conversation. But I think these things, it's like, I know a lot of people say that, or like it's almost meme like now, but that life imitates art, but really art imitates life. It's really a cycle of both happening. Like, art being inspired by life, and then life being inspired by art, and consistent, because I feel like art is almost, it's like we're in like the image of God. And this is a whole nother conversation as well. But even with like Lucifer before the fall was like the archangel, basically, like, because the worship angel, in charge of arts, in charge of all of that stuff. And this is God's right hand man. He covered the throne. And so it shows even above like war or messaging or anything, like the arts and even looking, it's like in the Bible, it's just like a lot of like worshiping. The most top guy in the Bible outside of Jesus himself is David. Everybody knows David and Goliath, and this is a little guitar boy. And then he became king and still leaving, dancing and worshiping and stuff. So I'm just saying in the sense of like even to the spiritualness of like the influence and the importance of music and the arts that I feel like has been stripped away, which is another conversation I definitely want to have. But it's so important. It's so very important. And so even with its influence, its power, we're like creating something from nothing a lot of times, especially when it comes to music. Like literally, like I said, even with music, when it's explaining his body in Ezekiel, it's just like, yeah, it's gold and diamond and precious stones and stuff. And it's talking about different like musical instruments like harps, and I don't want to butcher it, but just coming out of his body and stuff. And so it's just like, it's very spiritual. And like I said, even I just want to give flowers now to some OGs and just like new artists as well. Like with the newbies, like and when I say new, I'm not saying they just came out yesterday, but just people I listen to, newbies, would be like Bicep and Park High Gin, Clams Casino. Like these are some artists that I feel like are great, and there's more. I'm probably not even probably. I know I'm gatekeeping very hard. I could really go down the list of like a lot of artists. That was like anything. But I feel like we do know, and people who listen to electronic music, we know a lot of the newer faces and things that are carrying the craft along. But just even to the OGs, like it's so much stuff. Like even like Juke, DJ Manny, and like Good Looking Records. If we're talking about like when they talk about breakcore and stuff like that, it's like, okay, we're talking about the D&B and Junglers. Like y'all even know like Good Looking Records, how much they've done for electronic music. Although they've had their issues and things like that with their leader OTJ Bukem. OTJ is incredible though. We're just talking about, and even with what is it? Demon Theme. I don't want to butcher that. I don't know why I'm butchering it. Like I said, it's just forgive me brain farts going on right now. Yeah, Demon's Theme off of Producer 01. That being a sample. And it's crazy. It's just crazy. So this is what I'm saying. It's so much that goes behind this stuff. But Blue Martin, Seba, PFM, like the whole label, I could just keep going with them. You have people in Japan. Japan's electronic scene is amazing. People like Rei Harakami, Fumio Miyashita, and with Fumio, that's what I wanted to get into. That's what I really wanted to get into. So his kind of electronic music isn't what I would say is normal, but probably is the basis of like the inspiration for a lot of electronic music. And it has to do with like very minimalistic like synths and sounds, even to the point of just like birds chirping and stuff like that. And then you have like Brian Eno. It's a lot of like very older, I don't even know if you want to call it like new age, but it's like almost like the foundation of electronic goes back to like the 80s and 70s and 60s. You have these artists and they're just making ambient works of art, and it's just like sounds, like soundscapes, which is beautiful. But he's from Japan though. Fumio is from Japan. If I'm butchering it, please do. But we have a lot of that, a lot of those kind of artists that were making that music. The list goes on with that as well. But Brian Eno is a really good one. Miyashita is a really good one. And they're like progenitors. Then you have like Susumu I'm butchering Susumu Yokota. That's another very his. Oh my goodness, he has an album. Well, now it's like I use Apple Music a lot. I do use YouTube as well. But he has an album. It's just amazing. It's really, 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 really good. Zero is also good as well. That's a project by him, but it's an older one. I believe it came out in the 90s. Yeah, 1998. So he has an album called 1998, but he has a record called Blood of the Angel, and there's a combination project called 1998 plus Blood of the Angel. It's like one of my favorite electronic albums ever. It's like amazing. It's so many crazy records on here, like Mushroom Girl, Triangle Memory. Like the whole project is literally a top to bottom. Even the Blood on the Angel remix, like Blood of the Angel remix, it's very good, very good. Um, Knife Hand Chop, Lemongrass as well. Even MIA is definitely heavy electronic. Like, she is a rapper as well and an artist, but a lot of it is like I said, the merging of genres and stuff. Todd Edwards, I mentioned earlier. Poison Girlfriend is literally another one of my favorites. She's amazing. And I believe Poison Girlfriend is originally from Japan as well. And you find that in her music, a lot of it vocally. It's almost like Park Hye Jin. Park Hye Jin, and I don't say this to offend anyone or anything like that, but when I hear her, it almost reminds me of a baby version of Poison Girlfriend in the sense of like sonically, songwriting style a little bit. I think that Park Hye Jin is more abrasive, and at times, because of the struggles that she's went through, you can find it like a big middle finger to the world kind of thing. And sometimes Poison Girlfriend is more of a like, I don't want to say sensual, but like a more lighthearted, like let's heal the world type of message coming along in her music. But just like the blending of like Park Hye Jin blending English and Korean into her lyrics, where you have Poison Girlfriend at times where she's speaking English and at times where she goes straight to Japanese, and it flows fluidly, like very well, very, 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 very well. These are all great artists that I feel like people should look into, and the list goes on. Like honestly, these are just bigger names that I'm mentioning in electronic music. It goes down to like all different. You might find I've found one-off projects from just random people. I don't even know who they are, what they look like. They just have a name. You know what I'm saying? And they just dropped one album. It might just be like one crazy album and then that's it. And then I found it by chance. Like it's so much stuff. I think YouTube is a very, very good place to discover electronic. YouTube is the internet's record store. Whether we like it or not, the crate digging is YouTube. It's so, because you gotta think YouTube has been around for so long, before even social media. It's like one of the original like websites and just for media. And so when you go on there, I find videos from 13, 15, 16, 17 years ago. It's just like somebody randomly, yeah, I was at this record store, CD shop or whatever, and I bought this. I found this random album. I uploaded it, and hopefully y'all like it, and like maybe no one ever, and then you come years later, it's got like 100 views or something. I'm like, what is this? Like, also shout out to YouTube's algorithm, because it always puts some of the best. When you're really looking, it's like you get rewarded. Like it puts the best music in front of you. A lot of times, I found songs just off of the algorithm, like it's just a crazy cover art or something, or a crazy artist name, just whatever, and just appeared on my timeline. I'm like, well, who is this? Let me just listen. Give it a try. This is one of the craziest things I've ever heard. And it's like sometimes you can't even, it's not even on streaming platforms, because it's like I said, like maybe some random one-off album someone found and they just wanted to share and they just uploaded it. I know I named Susumu, I'm probably butchering his name, the creator of the 1998 and Blood of the Angel. He has a lot of albums that aren't on streaming, at least not Apple Music. I will say, I know there's a lot of back and forth about Apple Music and Spotify, and I think that both have perks. And honestly, a lot of people should get YouTube Music, although you need premium. If you have premium YouTube, you're a music listener, you might as well just get YouTube. It is beautiful. You can literally stream all of those obscure, crazy records, albums, whatever, just off your phone alone. But I do find a lot of distinct differences and perks and downfalls between Spotify and Apple Music. I have both. I don't have Spotify Premium though, but what I will say is that on Spotify, another artist I love, Faye Wong. That is like one of my top five, I think, artists. Period. Everything she does, literally everything, everything from presentation to creation. She's a godsend. She's one of the greatest artists that ever walked the face of the earth. As a complete side note, I might even just do a video just on that, my love for her and her music. But a lot of my favorite albums and records, songs by her aren't even on Apple Music, on Spotify. They are on YouTube, which is where I listen to it off of YouTube Music, but they're not even on Apple Music. So what I was basically, just what I'm saying is, you may find them on Spotify. There might be a lot of albums that you can find on there that you may not find on Apple Music. So take that with a grain of salt, especially when you're going into electronic music. It's so deep, diverse, and so many different subgenres, styles, and it's so much, and it's beautiful. But I guess the message that I would get across, or what I really want to convey, is like, let's stop rewriting history. Let's come together. Let's create new stuff, crazier stuff across generations. Just create art. Stop commercializing it so much. If it gets big, and that's also another thing. If it gets big, or like I said, Bjork, Aphex Twin, and other artists, like, maybe they're huge, maybe they're beasted. That doesn't take away from what they do, though. Let's also celebrate those people. And I did another video. It kind of was like Uzi, like him becoming what he became. It's just like him being him to the fullest and making some of the rawest music ever, especially in the new generation in his bracket and era when he came out. It's like, let's also appreciate that when people succeed, let's not hate and be like, oh, they're big now, they're big and beasted now. Like, no, like, it's a reason. Their art is so nice, it's so good, it's so pure that it translates. Like, it touches people at their core, their soul, their spirit, their mind, their heart. It translates across the board, across races, across ages, age groups, age gaps, whatever. And it's just here to stay, so we should celebrate. And there's a lot of art, especially with electronic. It gets slept on. It gets slept on a lot, even from its conception. It's been discredited and disrespected just because of the way it's created. It's beautiful. It's very meticulous, and it needs to be appreciated more. But and when I say chords, it's not just when it comes to electronic. I just wish the moniker, the name of core, adding chords, slapping core in the back of the emo core, what core just needs to die. Skate core, it's just like, please stop. It has to die. Especially when it's something that already has a name, or already has a certain view, or already has a history. It's like me coming and saying like, oh yeah, looking at Rome, research, whatever, Finland, just anything. I was gonna say like Norse, like the Vikings and stuff, and like, oh, this is European core, like Egypt or Jordan or Sudan or something. Be like, oh, this is so African core. It's just like, how does that sound? Or even like us, like, oh, this is so American core. Very, to me personally, I would say I don't mean to insult anyone at all with my words, but it just is on my heart. And that's how I feel. I don't mean to discredit or disrespect anyone, or even people, because there are people that use these names and they create great art. They create great art. I was just listening to whatchamacallit with Haku. I think it's Acid Girl. I want to say Acid Girl. And there's a list. There's a list of like artists. That's what I was saying. Let me like. There's one. This is an artist I just want to put out there. I don't know if they consider themselves breaker. I feel like I've seen people put them under the different cores and stuff. But Subaru with a 5. There's a song called "It's Just Me and the Empty Rose at Midnight" and PWM Angelic. There's a bunch of other songs that Subaru has. But oh my goodness, it is some of the craziest electronic music I've ever heard in my life. Everything about it, it's so. Yeah. So yeah, and there's a list. I could go into more, name more people. It's probably so many people I'm forgetting. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like even with people I named, it's so many people. It is a lot. But let's just appreciate it. Like I said, let's also respect the great people that came before. Like, this company. We stop trying to rewrite history. Oh, this is another one because I'm looking as I'm talking. Like there's an artist named Windows Shopping. Their jungle D&D stuff. There's just music. Period is really good. Really good. And like I said, I feel like it's bled into. Not even that it's bled. It's always been like that. There's I wouldn't want to say that. I would call him an animator. I wasn't gonna say graphic design artist, but artist. Period. What's his? People also apply for it. It's really good. I've worked with him before. But he has a YouTube channel and not a YouTube. I think but a SoundCloud page, and his name is Geeked on there, and he makes a lot of good electronic, mainly jungle, breakbeat, and DM. But he's trying to see if I can find. But he has a lot of crazy. His website is Brain Poison Online. But he has an EP or a little tape called well, it's not. It's just a combination of his stuff. But he has songs like CX, Live, Laugh, Like, Wacky, Beta Male, Opal, O, Dot Wave, or Oo Dot Wave, which is remixes like Cardi Ooh. But yeah, I would go like look up his stuff. Like I said, it's more. I could like it's a long, but I'm at this point, so I'm gonna. But yeah, like I said, let's just put love for